Israel and Hamas have agreed on a plan for a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip. And this kind of news brings great optimism to many observers. But what happens next? After all, the first truce is followed by almost 20 more points of Donald Trump's peace plan, which is supposed to put an end to the war in the Gaza Strip. In this episode, we'll analyze whether peace in the Gaza Strip is achievable and how to properly respond to today's news about the truce in Gaza. If you just want a straightforward news about the ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, go to my YouTube channel and watch the previous episode. Here we'll do a bit of analysis of what's happening. My name is Alexei Pecci, let's dive into this topic. But before we start, I want to remind you that on this YouTube channel, several news analysis segments are released every day so that you can stay up to date with all the news. That's why I recommend you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and I ask you to support us by leaving a like and of course writing a comment. Also, I encourage you to subscribe to my Telegram channel, Pecci News. The link to it is in the description of this video. There we publish breaking news as soon as it comes in. So Hamas and Israel have reached a ceasefire agreement starting from 12 o'clock on October 9th. Of course, it sounds like the end of the war, but that's only if you don't really understand what's happening in the Middle East. But the question arises, what happens next? Okay, they've announced the ceasefire, but what comes after that? Although Israel and Hamas have agreed on the first phase of the ceasefire brokered by the United States of America, there is still a lot that needs to be done. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened his government today to ratify this peace agreement. And so, according to the law, after Netanyahu's cabinet votes for the deal, there is a short period of time to file a petition to challenge this agreement. After this obstacle is overcome, this Israeli government can proceed with the release of Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Everything went smoothly. The Israeli government confirmed the ceasefire. Why is this important? Because only after the agreement is ratified in Israel can the release of hostages held by Hamas take place, which according to United States President Donald Trump could happen by Monday or Tuesday. Moreover, after the Israeli government supports the agreement, Israel will have to withdraw to the previously designated line, which should take less than 24 hours. That is, the ceasefire seems to have been declared, but it will officially take effect within 24 hours. And only after that does the 72-hour countdown begin, during which Hamas is required to release the hostages. And later, Trump again stated that the remaining hostages held by Hamas would be released from Gaza on Monday or Tuesday of next week. And that he still intends to do so. Subtitles by Dima Tozok. To travel to the region to mark this event. Quote, I think it will be a lasting peace, I hope an eternal peace, peace in the Middle East. We have secured the release of all remaining hostages, and they should be freed on Monday or Tuesday. The release is a complicated process. I wouldn't want to tell you what needs to be done to secure their freedom. There are places you wouldn't want to end up, but we will bring the hostages back on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and it will be a joyful, joyful day. I will try to make a trip to mark this moment, including a stop in Egypt for the official signing to commemorate the agreement. And there are still some details of this very agreement that need to be clarified. It is still unclear which specific Palestinian prisoners will be released by Israel, although a Hamas representative said that Hamas and Israel have already exchanged lists of names. Later, another Hamas official accused Israel of allegedly manipulating the lists. What do you think? For example, it's unclear how many Palestinians convicted of terrorist attacks Israel is willing to release. In the first stage of the deal, they will release 250 prisoners. But it's still unclear who they are. Israeli sources also report that Hamas will most likely not be able to find the bodies of some hostages and therefore cannot guarantee the return of all hostages. The Hamas militants themselves have already stated that the only condition for releasing the hostages will be officially stating in the agreement that this is the end of the war, not just a ceasefire. This means Hamas's structure won't be fully destroyed, contradicting Israel's goals. And so, according to a high-ranking Hamas representative, a ceasefire agreement with Israel has been reached in the Gaza Strip. And here an interesting statement was made by Hazem Qassem. He's a representative of the Hamas militants, and I will now quote him. Hamas certainly has guarantees that the war will not resume after the exchange process is completed. And we also heard the American president speak on this issue directly, publicly and clearly, We, Hamas, expressed our gratitude to President Donald Trump for helping to achieve this agreement. President Trump sought to end the war in the Gaza Strip, and we once again call on him to continue putting pressure on the occupiers so that they fully implement all the terms of the agreement. But that's not all, because the most interesting part is yet to come. The Hamas representative added that adjustments were made to the map of the partial withdrawal of Israeli troops. A full operation is needed to exchange all prisoners, both deceased and living. It's not clear at all whether Israel accepted these adjustments to the map, but I find it hard to believe. Qasem also said Israel is disputing the list of 250 Palestinian prisoners set for release in the first phase of the agreement. Although, again, there was no public mention of any specific number, but the militants are not stopping there. A senior Hamas official, Usama Hamdan, stated that the release of Israeli hostages and Palestinian prisoners is expected to take place on Monday. And at that time, Hamas militants expect Donald Trump to come out and publicly announce the end of the war in the Gaza Strip. And here I should remind you that earlier, Donald Trump unveiled a plan according to which a Palestinian committee under the supervision of an international organization would govern the Gaza Strip until EDAK. And this international body was supposed to be headed by Donald Trump himself, together with other major states, primarily from the Arab world. President Trump, however, did not mention how Gaza would be governed when announcing the agreement. Now he's saying that the war is over, but what should be done with Gaza next? So for now, it looks like Israel has achieved the release of the hostages, but has not succeeded in eliminating Hamas or ending the war, because it is unlikely that Hamas will simply lay down its arms, disband itself, and give up power in the Gaza Strip. I'll leave it there for now. Your opinion, your conclusions? As usual, write your thoughts in the comments under this episode. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, and don't forget to like. That's all for now. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, everyone.